on Instagram. All right. Hi, everybody. What?
Let's go. Momentum hour. We're here. Let's get it.
Oh, we are here. We are here. Oh, my God.
I
Oh,
uh I love the thought of momentum, but what I don't love is when that momentum dries up or when it runs out. Have you experienced some of that?
I'm going through this right now. Literally, I'm
Okay.
going through this right now. And I'm the worst with it because of that ADHD brain. I get those like really high highs, but really low lows. And generally for me, all it takes is like one thing, one little like thing in the spoke to just stop, everybody from moving forward. And I'm having a hard time with it because I don't want to stop, right? Like I know I can do hard things. But like how do you get that momentum to start ramping back up, right? Like I was so excited, hit the roadblock. So it brought me back down here. Now, how do I keep moving forward without completely abandoning ship?
I think there's a level of resilience. I think that needs to be baseline in order to not throw you off when you hit that spoke or when something gets caught in the wheel, right? And I think that's the toughest piece. So that's why I want to start there by starting with the word resilience, because we know that anything you are doing that's new, that you haven't done before, that involves people, that involves technology, that involves multiple different parties, which is if you're doing big things or you want to make big impact or you don't want to play small and you want to really, push the envelope, then you've got to have that baseline level of resilience. And I'm not talking about like resilience of, you just lost your mother and I'm saying, toughen up, Cookie, right? Like get back on, the wagon here. Like, what are you doing? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about that resilience where you've planned, you've prepared, you've been here before, right? And I think that's for the longest time, I tried to think that I was going to control everything. This was all going to get better, and I wasn't going to hit any road bumps or blocks or any of it. And that's just not reality, because if it's already built, if it's already streamlined, if it's already perfect, if everything's in sync, if you've got a business in a box wrapped up in a nice bow, in a nice cute gift with a nice, name tag on it and a nice ribbon, and well, what's the joy in that? Like, where would momentum ever come from if everything was a business in a box and bowed up and cute and perfect, right? So I think, and this is the hardest thing, one of the hardest things for me, because similar to you is that momentum's rising and I'm good and I'm in that manic high and I'm feeling it and we're flowing and there's magic's happening, baby. Like it's just happening. And then that starts to creep down and starts to drop. Well, what do you do when you're on the way down? And what do you do if you made it here to get back up on the swing and the hockey stick up? And I think it's understanding that this is going to happen in everything. You're going to lose momentum at some point, sometime. And it's just reality. How do you continue it? How do you push it forward? I think that's the question we all want to ask ourselves. But understanding that it's coming in anything we do, right? Whether it's your children's book, whether it's the How Deep card game that I'm building, whether it's us going and doing podcasts and Impact Effect 25 virtual summit coming up, right? Like there's going to be a drop of momentum because it takes time. It takes multiple people. It takes multiple situations. Things change. We have to adapt. We have to pivot. We have to transform. And I think whether it's an event, whether it's a product, whether it's a service, whether it's a book, whether it's your IP, whether it's a course, whether it's content, I think you just have to build that level of awareness and resilience that you're going to come off of that high. You're going to come off of that momentum.
But wait, I have a question for you really quickly. Is that also why our why, like going back to our why, our foundation of why we're doing the thing, isn't that why it's so important to have clarity on that? Because you go back to that why. Like I literally had to sit yesterday, stopped myself from having a complete meltdown, right? Like, because I could feel it. I was like, I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry in a parking lot again. Like, why am I always crying in parking lots? I just was in that moment where I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get overwhelmed, but I don't want to give up. And I had to go back literally to the why. Why am I doing this? Why do I want to do this? Why am I creating this? And I've gotten so much further than I ever have before. Do you really feel like having that why, a clear sense and clarity of that why, is so important in these down moments?
So I think momentum often gets stuck in our head and it builds and pulls through when it's stuck in our heart, right? So what you're saying and that emotion that's arriving and you were crying in the car and whatnot, like that's all your head going, wow, this has to happen and this has to happen and this is crazy and I got to fit it in here and it's got this and I'm overlapped and I over promised and but this is due and how am I going to sleep, and then I got the kids and then I got travel and then I got this consulting gig and I got that's only with our head. And I think the why statement allows us to drop back into the North Star, which is our heart. I would also add to that, if you're a business owner, and I know most of us listening are business owners or entrepreneurs, or they have an urge to start something and create from within, I would also push you to understand your brand promise. So your why statement is you and your North Star of why you're doing all this, right? And when you start to think about your why statement, that's when you really drop into your heart. For me, I envision myself and any other entrepreneur at a point where they have no resources, they have no friends, they're by themselves, they're in a new town, a new city. The reason why they came here was because they thought they were going to have this amazing opportunity, and it was absolutely bullshit, garbage, trash. Now they're building something for themselves so they never got caught in that situation again, and they need the resources so they don't give up on their dreams. When I go into that place, when I'm tired, when I'm stressed out, when I'm losing momentum, when I get there, I mean, that's my anchor. That's where I do my start the fire. Let's go. Snap my fingers. Jim's in it. He's ready. It's not for me. It's for the impact of others. It's why I do what I do. Snap the hell out of it, Jim. Get your mind right. Get your brain right. Get your emotions right. Regulate, because it's not about you. And this is everything you wished and wanted you had when you didn't, and you almost gave up. If I put myself in that heart, that peace, then I can feel it right now in my legs. I have goosebumps on my ankles. I know that sounds weird as fuck. But like just saying that, I just felt it rise from my toes all the way through my body and sit in my heart, right? And now it gets me fired up. Like I just got a bolt of energy that was real that I created. And I think that's the thing, is if we have the resilience to understand that momentum's going to die at some point, life's not perfect, we're going to fall off the slope, right? But then we can do what I just did. I just created energy. I just created happiness. I just created inspiration, motivation. And we go to these things called accountability groups, and we put ourselves in around these people that do the same thing for us, because we often don't believe ourselves. And we often forget to dive deep into the why, to dive deep into the brand promise of why we're doing all these things and what the reward is for the person we're trying to help, which in turn, when we help that person, it's the reward for us, right? Like, I don't know about you, Rachel, but like, if you call me up and you're like, Jim, I'm stuck with this, or like, we'll probably talk after we shoot our this right now live, because we always talk, right?
Yes.
Like, that's what fires me up. That's what gets me going, is I'm helping Rachel. Like, and I've been through some of this and I've fucked it up and I've crushed it in some ways. And that's my why. I don't want Rachel to not have a resource to then peel back some layers and say, maybe I don't do the children's book, this summer. Maybe I don't get the coins that go with it. Maybe I don't get the Santa Claus to crush it, right? Like, I'd never want her to do that. I never want her to feel that. And I never want her to give up on that. So when I think about accountability groups, when I think about people, when I think about community, when I think about Impact Effect Accelerator, right? What we're doing inside of this is we're giving that momentum back, because we know people, we understand them, we build a relationship with them, And we want to be that reminder of why you're doing it and who you're helping and the positive impact that you have. Now, it's way easier to have someone in your life understand you to get you back on the course, right? And that's what Impact Effect Accelerator is. Whether it's me, whether it's you, whether it's people in the accelerator, in the community. But I think the hack here and the goal is how do you get back into that yourself without having to broker or leverage any resources? And I think that's what really comes down to that resilience of an understanding of it's going to happen. I'm going to be in this place where everything's not perfect, where things are falling apart, where I'm stressed out, where I want to cry, when I am crying. How can you get yourself back to that? And if you can't, where's the community and the group that you have? I know for myself, I'm really good at doing it alone. I can't do it alone all the time. That's why I've built this. That's why I have close relationships. That's why I love helping people. Because I know at one point I'm going to need help too, and no one's perfect. So why wouldn't I help others knowing that I'm not perfect and I'll need help too? Right.
Well, and I had that moment yesterday where I was like, okay, take myself out of it. If I was coaching somebody or collaborating with somebody, right, and I had to help them with this problem inside of the accelerator, what would I do? What advice would I have? Right. And so I literally coached myself through the whole thing. Didn't cry, really had to admit where I failed in the stage of research. I didn't look up what costs were going to come up. I didn't unveil any of that. I just kept going and paying as it came. But then we got to a point where I was like, oh crap, now like the big expenses are coming and I never asked. I just assumed I would be able to afford it. Right? Because I'm like, oh, it'll be fine. The universe always provides. But we got to a point where it's like, now these are real numbers. These are things coming out of my savings account. These are things that I have to now say like, okay, it's put up or shut up time for real now. And so I had to, number one, really admit where I didn't do my research, where I didn't do my due diligence and figuring out, is this something I can do, not just energetically, but financially? I did not do that part. And so I was like, okay, we have to admit where we like failed. But now that we're here, are we going to stop? Or are we going to figure out a way to, number one, get a cash injection, some sort of a cash flow to make this happen? I have a time limit, so it has to be by a certain time. And then, right. And then like, okay, what is the steps after that? And then what other expenses am I not looking at? So I really just had to be honest with myself and say, like, you fucked up because you didn't do enough research. And I really didn't. So it's been a fun learning process, but it's like, okay, how would I coach somebody else in the accelerator to get through this?
And that's the thing. It's hard to get back into logic when you're so deep in your emotion and your heart, and that emotion's negative. Right? Like that's where I see the biggest challenge in continuing to build up that momentum as it starts to plummet or it starts to decrease is how do you get yourself out of that negative heartfelt emotion and back into the logic to where what you just did. You're like, oh, I've been here before. I can coach myself. I've helped people with this. Let me just say the same things to myself. And I think that's really hard in the moment. That's why we have coaches. That's why we have friends we can call on. That's why we have programs like Impact Effect Accelerator, right? Because there is that resource because we know how hard it is in the moment. And I don't know. I don't know about you, but whenever I'm in those deep, deep pockets and I just feel like the world's closing in and there's no solution, there's just coming at me, I pick up the phone. And most of the time, it's not me getting help from someone, it's me giving help, and that gets me out of that funk. Because that's my why. That's my brand promise. My brand promise is to help business owners and entrepreneurs get the resources they need in different ways, shapes, and forms based on engaging through human connection and developing a relationship with them to understand what they truly need. And I sell with soul. So if it's not something they need, then I'm not going to give it to you because that's my soul. That is not this body. That's not a bank account. That's not a wallet. That's who I believe I am. Right. And I think if the why statement is the reason why I have that brand promise, Well, my why statement is because I know exactly how it feels. I lost one of the smartest people in the world, a business partner, because we didn't have the resources. They didn't have the belief. They didn't keep going forward. Right. And I don't want someone who's an expert or can help create so much positive change in the world not have the opportunity to do so and give up on their dreams. And we live in a world where a resource is sitting there, and I call it wasted talent. I think the worst thing in the world is wasted talent. That's what really grinds my gears. That's what really actually upsets me in my heart, is in so many ways, right? Whether it's the kid who can't get on the football team because it costs $500 to play and he doesn't have the money, but he's the best quarterback in the United States. Like, that's terrible. That is terrible that that talent is being wasted because of some other reason, right? And I just don't want that to happen. So my why statement, the North Star, and then the brand promise, I think those two work together as a business, as a leader, as an entrepreneur, as an owner. And if I can sit in those two lanes, sink into the heart when it's the hardest to do so, and if not, leverage and utilize a friend or a resource, then I'm going to keep that momentum up and I'm going to keep moving. I also think the last thing I would share with this, when it's crazy and there's so much going on, you got to reduce it down to small wins to build up that momentum. Because when you're shooting for, like, I remember I was like, I got to get the card game out before I go to this retreat. Like, it was never going to happen. And instead, I was like, I have to print the stickers out before the retreat. And I printed the stickers out. I got a bolt of energy. I ended up placing them. I ended up changing them. I ended up getting the whole thing done. But if it was getting the whole project done was the goal, I never would have done it. I would have floundered. I would have flopped. It's just too much pressure. I wouldn't have been capable of doing it. But I started small. And then next thing you know, the whole thing got done. And I got to share it at the retreat. So that's the last thing I'd add with this, because I think we can really psych ourselves out and we can really overwhelm ourselves. And I think a lot of it is a product of the choice we make. And if we can just make a choice that's a little bit smaller that we can accomplish and we can restart to gain that momentum, then we stack. And then next thing you know, you're here getting the big goal that you wished and wanted.
I want you to add one more thing, because as somebody who you have started multiple businesses, you've been to that fear point where you're like, oh, fuck, what if this doesn't work and I'm spending money, right? How do you get through that fear, that juncture? We're at that crossroads now where it's like, okay, we've done now the due diligence. I know what's going on. I know how to load everything. My graphics are done. Everything is there. Now we're going to make the giant check, right? We're going to make the big payment to get the books loaded and the coins made and all the things. Now I'm in that fear phase of oh shit, what if this doesn't work? How do you get over that fear? How do we get to this part where there's nothing but it working? There's nothing but it working out, right? How do I get there?
Smoke a ton of cannabis. And pull out your Bible.
They'd be like,
it's a great question. And in all seriousness, I think it's something that you have to look yourself in the mirror and say that you've been in worse situations. You've made something from nothing before. And why not you? I often ask myself that question. I really do. I know it sounds cliche in some cases. If you've heard it before, if this is the first time you're hearing it, you're like, why not you? Like, okay. But honestly, that's what changes everything. If I'm going to go on social media, if I'm going to live a life where I compare myself to others, why not compare myself in a good way, shape, or form to what others have done as well? Right? It's not you did it and I can't. It's you did it. Why can't I? And I think that reframe, that understanding is like, why not you? Something else that I've been thinking about, and a phrase that's on my whiteboard, is, and I want to put it on a t-shirt or something, but you're good, comma, I'm good. So meaning like from a comparison standpoint, like you're good at what you do, and so am I, right? You're good at being a business owner, and I am as well. You're good at taking risk. Well, guess what? I'm good too. And I think it's that same concept of why not me, right? It's like, okay, and you said something to me like last week or the week before. We were talking about like other people doing stuff. And I think I was talking about kids. And I was like, there's just some days where I'm like, okay, other people have kept 10 kids alive. Why can't I keep 2 alive and be happy? Right. Like just some days it just all crashes down, you know? But it's that same concept of like, if I'm gonna compare to someone, why not give myself the credibility and opportunity to do it as well? Like, why not say you're good and I'm good too? So that's how I look at it. I think for me specifically, it's it's the reframe of the same information, but looking at it a little bit different, right? It's tough not to compare. It's tough not to consume content. It's tough not to see all the highlight reels. It's tough not to see your friends bragging about vacation and or your friends saying, "Oh, I just got this," or "I bought this boat," or "I bought this beach house." Right? That's gonna happen. That's inevitable. So we're society we live in, and unfortunately, it's a societal norm. With knowing that that's going to happen, let's just spin it a little bit. Say, why can't I get the boat? May not be today like they have it, but I can and I will. If that's a goal of yours, right? I'm not a boat guy. You'll never see me on a boat. Could give a shit less about boats. I don't want it. I think it's a money pit. I'm good jumping on yours, getting off, and doing it again in maybe 2 or 3 years, right? So I'm not the boat person, but if you are the boat person, I think you can get that boat. Why not you?
And I just have to continue to remember the end. Like, just because I've seen other people publish their books online doesn't mean they also didn't have these problems. It doesn't mean they also didn't have these issues. We just don't see them. And so I have to remind myself, like, it's not that I'm doing it wrong. I'm just unfortunately put myself in a situation where I'm learning as I go instead of having pre-prepared and knowing like what possible roadblocks would come up. And that's my own fault. Like, I truly 100% accept that. And so I'm just turning the fear into excitement. I'm continuing to just see like the longer term goal. And you know this, like when you're investing in yourself, as scary as it is, I don't think I've ever felt better about anything else before in my entire life.
You're
So
doing it.
I know.
You are a children's book author. Like, and
Yeah,
I
like it's
think
done. It's crazy. Like I'm like, oh my god, it's done. It may not be.
full
It may
goosebumps right there. When you said I'm done, literally full
like it's
goosebumps. I was
done.
like,
Nobody can read it yet, but the graphics are done. Oh my god. And Amazon may not accept it perfectly, but that's okay. I will absolutely put the money into getting them printed and shipping them out myself. No problem. So do we run into roadblocks? Yes. Am I coming up with solutions and answers? Yes. Is it scary? Yes. But again, it's the most rewarding and fulfilling thing because, again, when you've had a dream for so long, when you've wanted to do something for so long, and like it's just that stretch. It's just that last stretch where it's like, I can just give up now and say, fuck it. Or we could say, fuck it, we're going to keep going. And so today is fuck it, we're going to keep going.
that right there. That right there. You have a decision to be made, and how you live your life and equate your happiness to your actions is based on that decision. And you decided to make that decision to keep going. And I believe that my biggest mistakes, both financially, from both relational, bad luck, whatever you want to call it, like, and there's stuff that I'm still paying for, right? Like, but there's always going to be, because you have to jack it up, you have to mess it up, you have to stumble through it so you can evolve and grow, right? Like, I have to go and try it to then make it better and to make it more badass and evolve. If I don't try it, or if it's just a breeze and I hit it out of the park, what am I really learning? Am I really evolving? Like, and I say this with the first big conference I did, when we had an issue with one of the speakers. I'm like, well, the year before I didn't have this issue. It was a breeze. And now it was like, oh my God, the world's going to fall apart. Right. Well, I evolved. Every conference we have a backup speaker already ready to go. Right. Like there is no leverage point that I am not on top of now because of that evolution. Did it suck in the moment? It sucked. Did I have a solution? No. Did I fight through it? Yes. Did I have to change everything? Did I lose sleep? Did I stay up? Did I have the best energy at the conference? The answer is no. But that problem will never happen again. I've evolved. And what it also taught me was, well, let's look out for some problems you didn't experience yet so far as well and have a backup plan. Right? So like now it's like, okay, I hire 3 videographers for an event. Well, I've got the 4th on retainer if I need it, if one bangs out, right? Oh, we have to catch podcasts and captions, and well, the mics didn't go out, but they could. So why don't I bring my mics, even though I hired someone to do the podcasts, right? Like we have to build in these situations and scenarios. The other thing I wanted to share with you, and I want you to chat about this too. I don't want to take up the whole momentum hour, but I met someone, what was it 4 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks ago, I met someone and they paid someone $25,000 to publish their book and they never heard from them again. At least that's not happening to you right now. And this person's still going to publish their book. They're still going to do it.
And I want people to understand. That's insane.
That was like everything they thought. So think about them getting everything, right? Like distribution to get, I think they were going to help them with some of the clips on social and really quarterback the strategy. And they were going to also, get them on some billboards and some digital assets and like the whole package they thought they were getting. And they just got nothing, like gone, vanished, never existed. The company never existed. Person never existed.
That's horrifying.
So messing up a P&L or a budget or forecasting or not thinking you're going to have that cash flow and having to pause or push things a week or maybe go to a different solution or run a small batch, then the bigger overall batch, like whatever you're going through, just remember that it could be worse, right? And it could be a decision that person's a smart guy. Like I know that guy. Like he didn't not just, oh, let me just send you a check, right? Like we're not talking about an idiot here. We're talking about a published author. Like, and he's got business acumen is what I'm trying to say. Really, he's not an idiot when it comes to this stuff. So I hear that. And I just think like that guy still got back up. That guy still is building momentum through that process. And now when he's telling that story, how many more people want to lean in and help? Right? I want to throw an event for the guy when he publishes it on my dime, because I'm like, look at that resilience. Look at that expectation that was not met, but yet you got back up and built a new expectation for yourself and for the impact of others. Like put that in the book, right? Page 1 and 2 can start different now. Like who knows, Well,
and that's my goal, is to start talking about it a little bit and the roadblocks that I'm coming up with so other people like can look into this first, because where everyone's like, oh, I want to write a book, and then nobody reads the 1,000 page guidelines that Amazon sends or that Ingram Spark sends, right? And it's funny that you said like learn from your mistakes, but like keep going, because you kept having events. Well, I had a moment yesterday where I have to buy the ISBN, which is like how your book gets categorized, right? The ISBN number. And the company that you buy the ISBN from makes it like you can buy 1, or for a really good deal, you could buy 10. And so I was like, I'm going to buy 10 because I know I'm going to do this again, because I know this isn't going to stop me, because I know I can learn as I go. And I know I'm not going to make the same mistakes that I did before. And so that was like a huge moment for me, because it's like, well, I could just buy the 1, or I could buy the 10, because I know I'm going to keep going and creating more. And so I was like proud of myself, because it's a huge moment. Because number one, it's a bigger investment, right? And number two, now I have 10 ISBNs I have to create books for.
Get to writing.
I got it. I know. I've got some of them already done, which is hilarious. So just like I'm at this point finally where I'm not scared anymore. to share the projects. It's just I have to also share the failures that like this happened today and it sucked. I had to spend this much money and it sucked. Um, it's literally betting on yourself. You're betting on yourself financially. And if I stop, then I automatically lose. But if I keep going, there could be a huge windfall that I don't even see. There could be an opportunity that I don't even know is going to happen. And so I can't stop. What's the worst that happens? I have a garage full of books and coins that nobody bought. What's the best that happens? I have to get a warehouse and hire people to help me ship and sell, right? Ship books and coins. So, and I had that moment with my husband where we sat and I was like, let's not think about the worst case scenario. Let's think about the best case scenario and how we handle that. And he literally like had all these, he had like all these answers. And I was like, okay, great. Fabulous. You've got that. Right. Like I was like, okay, I'll just finish making the book, getting the coin made, and I'll just keep going. And it just made me feel so good to like sit with a partner who believes in it. Like, yes, financially, are we taking from savings? Does it hurt? Sure. But he believes in it so much that like he's okay with betting on this. And betting on me and my crazy idea.
I was just going to say, he's betting on you, not
Yeah.
this. He's betting on you. And that
Yeah.
level of responsibility, like, feel into that. It's not pressure, it's warmth and it's love. Right. And like, that was one of the things that I had a hard time with was like the person who introduced us, Brian Gelke, right? I love Brian. And he's like, dude, you're gonna do it again this year. You're gonna have another event. Like after all the shit you went through, you're gonna do it again. Like, yeah, that's why I love you. You say you're gonna do it, you figure it out. It may be different, it may shift, like, but you do it. And that at first, when he said that, I was like, oh, I feel pressure. And I don't even know if I've shared this with Brian, right? But like, because it doesn't really matter. It was my own shit, my own stuff. But like, I was like, ooh, I have to do it again. Like that's pressure. And then I sat with it and I was like, no, what that is love and friendship. That is someone saying, you are magical, dude. What you're doing, the world needs. Like, and you're gonna do it again and you're gonna crush it and like keep going, man. And I used to take it as pressure, but it's not. When it's the right person, right? That's the other thing. I've also had people come up to me and say, man, you're going to do it again. Like, that's great. You're crushing it. How can I support? Knowing that the only reason why they were saying that is because they wanted to step on that stage, right? Like, Brian will come to my conference, whether he's speaking or not. Like, Brian came to my TEDx talk. Brian Gelke came to my TEDx talk. Like, he didn't have to do that. You know what I mean? So, like, it has to be the right person. You have to understand and identify motive and friendship. But like in your case, of course, your husband is doing that for the right reasons and not pressure, you know? And I think that's a blessing in disguise. Like he sees you stressed or he sees like, all right, let's flip the script and talk about what could happen. He's got the plan. He's ready to dive in. He's ready to make that happen. Like, all right.
Yeah. It
Let's do
literally was
this.
like, oh, okay, great. Then I'm going to just keep going. It was amazing. And it just felt really good. And like, I think sometimes we have to really leap and trust the net will be there. And so I just have to trust that like I can keep moving forward. And I have this vision for a reason that has to get executed in this way. Totally understand releasing some of that sometimes to release the pressure, whether that's a due date, whether that's an item that's going along with something, whether that's whatever it is in your business. Completely understand having to pivot. But with this, there's not challenges that I can't overcome. Like if it's just a financial hurdle, we'll figure that out. Money will come to solve that problem. I have to trust that. And that's just where I'm at. I'm like, everything else is done. Everything else, like I know how to market stuff. So that part's done. I didn't know how to create the book, but we figured that out. So now that part's done. And so if it's just a financial burden, then okay, we'll figure that out too. And I can keep moving forward. So
I just had a quick thought before we wrap up. And I
yeah.
was thinking of consecutively how this stuff plays out, right? So think of like two bookends and then there's a book in the middle, right? The first bookend is the idea, the thought, the creation, you creating and building. That's like really exciting. It feels good. You start to build the momentum, right? Like yippee-yi-yay, like let's go, baby. Like this is it, right? You're feeling good. Then you get into the middle of building it, creating it, getting more information, more details, and realizing, wow, this is hard, right? Like I've hit a couple roadblocks, or something's not working out, or something happened. There's a reason why we call it the messy middle, right? Because it's messy. You don't have the same emotions, you don't have the same motivations, you don't have the same momentum. Then the other end of the bookcase, or the bookend, you feel good again. It's done. You feel accomplished. You didn't give up. Not hopefully, but if it's business related, you're making money off of it, right? So you go from like, ooh, this feels great. And you know what the end looks like because you've completed things in your life. You know that feels great. So it's like, great, 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 great. We get into the middle. It's not great. 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 And then we never get back to that feeling. We never finish it. But if you can say, here's the beginning, this momentum, it's great. I know it's great. When's it coming? Like when do I have to put the resilience up? Because nothing's perfect. Nothing ever works out as easy as you think it will, or it should. Because we think it should be perfect. It should be easy. That's not true. Nothing's like that. And you're frustrated you're not getting that end, with that feeling that you've already felt, that happiness, that this is working, that momentum, and you stop and you give up. Or you get distracted and you start something else. How do you go into a project knowing it's going to be yippee-yi-yay? And then that messy middle where you got to fight, you got to claw, you got to find money, you got to pivot, you got to transform, you got to discern, you got to decide, knowing that once you're out of that, then you're going to that final stage of momentum and happiness again. And I think if we can go into it knowing the emotions that come with the stage, you're going to navigate it more easily, more beautiful, and it's going to be emotionally less taxing, I believe.
Well, and
So
observe it too. If you can just observe it, observe the emotion that you're feeling, observe what it is that is either lacking or that you need, and then just start to stair step at little tiny things, little tiny wins. And so each time I had to remind myself, okay, I felt this way before, like literally a week ago when I had to do this. And we got through that too. We know how that feels to be on the other side of it. So we can do this next step. And just sort of remember, if you take those little stair steps, keep your eye, yes, on the prize, on the why, nothing will overwhelm you to the point of letting it all go. Nothing is worth just saying no and leaving it on the table. I'm also, I feel like at that age where I have to see things through now. I can't just keep, like, you know what I mean? Like keep starting projects and stopping. Like I have to see this through. And because of my passion for what it is that I'm doing. And so
your
here we
why,
go, dude. Here we go.
your why, that's
Yes.
it, that North Star.
Yeah.
Um,
So
cool. Well,
thank you, everybody.
yeah, thanks for being vulnerable, Rachel, and just real and raw. I think you're always real and raw with me. And when we do lives and when we teach inside Impact Effect Accelerator and when we get on calls with our members and really dive in one-on-one and help them. But I just don't say it enough. So I just wanted to make sure I said it, especially, I know we're live, but I want the world to know, like, Rachel is making so much momentum and so much progress because she is being real about it. She is asking the questions. She is saying, Jim, can we talk? Can you help me with this? And I just think we need more of that to get to those goals, to get to that finish line, and to get to that happiness of completing what you know, wish, and wanted to complete. So I just want to say thank you to you, and keep rocking it.
Well, thank you. I think I want other people to know, like, it's not hard to ask for help. I'd rather ask for help and get through it than just keep giving up. Right. At a certain point in time, I just had to say, like, I can't do this alone. I need help. And that's what we literally do in Inside Impact Effect Accelerator is we are those people. We'll cheer you on, we'll coach you, we'll help you with strategy, whatever it is that you need, or maybe you just need a pep talk. We welcome you. So thank you, Jim, for being that pep talk for me today. I appreciate you.
Of course. We'll see y'all. Take
All right,
care.
bye, everybody.